A militant West Coast. From the Congo to Zambia. From the cotton field to the cobalt field. Same empire, different paperwork. They used chains yesterday. Now they use contracts, sanctions, medicine, and debt. Babylon's still hungry. KING-KAMBUF A, speaking. Here we go again. Here we go again.
This punk Trump man.
Here we go again.
With this punk Trump man.
They smile at the summit while the children get buried. Suit and tie, devils make starvation customary. Bible in one hand, the other on the treasury. Still trying to auction off the bones of their ancestry. Copper in the soil, cobalt in the dirt. Blood on the diamonds, now lithium work. Africa rich, but the people still hurt, cause the vultures write laws while the miners in the earth. Cain killed Abel for envy and power. Now nations get strangled in the diplomatic hour. 30 silver pieces still control the tower. Pontius Pilate politics, wash hands after showers. Pick far on a table like a loaded 45. Sign here or the medicine dry. That ain't aid, that's extortion in disguise. Pharaoh at the river telling Moses compromise. But Yahweh heard cries from the brickyard pain. Heard cries from the cotton in the auction chain. Now the same piece system running the same game. Different logo, different flag, same stain.
Food on the neck of Africa still heavy. Oil in the Bible and the gold too deadly. They call it policy, we call it warfare. Whole world eating while the motherland starved there.
West Coast fire with the Marcus Garvey spirit. Malcolm in my blood, let the whole globe hear it. Ain't no freedom if the cure got a price. That Caesar's Rome,
Dressed up,
looking nice.
Esau economics, Judas diplomacy, colonizer grammar, hide the robbery openly, talking expanded access, corporate theology, but every contract smell like stolen property.
How you hold medicine over dying in, then quote democracy with a lion grin. That's revelation, peace, behavior again. Trade routes built off the suffering of King Leopold. Go still walk through the mines, still hear the screams in the corporate lines. Still see black bodies traded for this shine. Still see Wall Street feeding off African spines. Martin had a dream, Malcolm had a warning. Garvey saw the ships way before the storming. Booker taught structure, Huey we taught forming. That turner spirit got the ancestors roaring. And Christ lit tables in the temple of greed, with the money changers exploiting the weak. See, the gospel ain't passive when the innocent bleed. Truth become militant when justice needs speak. Woo!
Food on the neck of Africa still heavy. Oil in the Bible and the gold too deadly. They call it policy, we call it warfare. Whole world eating while the motherland starved there.
West Coast fire with the Marcus Garvey spirit. Malcolm in my blood, let the whole globe hear it. Ain't no freedom if the cure got a price. That Caesar's Rome,
Dressed up, looking nice.
from Tulsa ashes to the Congo trails. Black wealth always got hunted by devils for sale. They fear united tribes more than missiles and jails. That's why they poison every well that prevails. Divide the nations, weaponize relief. Smile in public while they bargain with grief. Put the pastor on TV, make the people go sleep, while corporations call the land underneath. But Africa ain't poor, it's under siege. Richest earth ever touched by human need. Every empire built off African seeds. Now they panic when the continent breathes. See the prophecy clear in the smoke and dust. No savior coming through the IMF trust. The same ships that carry chains and rust now carry trade deals labeled strategic lust. But the youth waking up in Lagos nights, Johannesburg drums and Nairobi lights. Black America tied to the struggle for life. Same knee on the neck, same corporate knife.
And they gon' call this anger.
They called Moses angry.
Here we go again.
They called Malcolm dangerous.
Here we go again.
They called Garvey radical.
Here we go again.
They called Christ a threat to empire. But truth got a way of shaking palaces. No more begging Pharaoh for permission to breathe. No more trading life for mineral leases. No more smiling through exploitation from the throne of resistance. From the bloodline of survivors. From the memory of every ancestor buried beneath somebody else's wealth.
Here we go again.
Zambia has until April 30 to make a tough decision. Sign a mineral rights deal with the United States or lose most of the funding for the HIV treatment of 1.3 million people. Zambia is one of the world's largest copper producers. It also has significant reserves of lithium and some cobalt. The US wants preferential access to these very minerals and their sources, used for things such as solar panels and electric vehicles. But Zambia is also a country with one of the highest rates of HIV/AIDS in the world. Nearly 10% of the adult population is affected. For over 2 decades, Zambia has relied on a US program called PEPFAR to fund about 80% of its HIV response. So how are Zambia's minerals and HIV programs related? A US State Department Memorandum of Understanding shows the two sides are negotiating a 5-year health deal to replace one that expires on April 30. The proposed agreement states that all healthcare funding will be immediately discontinued if no deal is reached, and that deal is supposed to include preferential access to Zambia's minerals, meaning American companies get priority rights over companies from other countries. But that's not all. Washington is also demanding 10 years of access to Zambia's health data, but only offering 5 years of funding. HIV and other health data is valuable for pharmaceutical companies developing new drugs. Whatever medications, vaccines, or profit come out of it, Zambia would get no guaranteed share of the profit. In Kenya, activists took their government to court over a similar data clause. And finally, the US is only offering $320 million in aid for all health programs in Zambia in 2026, compared with $367 million it provided last year for HIV programs alone. And that figure of $320 million would decline each year. The Zambian government wants a deal, just not this one. They walked away from the negotiations in late 2025, just as Zimbabwe did with the US over similar health data concerns. This is not the first blow to Zambia's HIV programs. When US President Donald Trump began his second term, he froze foreign aid, affecting PEPFAR. For the first time in the history of the program, fewer people were treated than the year before. The US government says PEPFAR has saved over 26 million lives, but it now looks like the survival of 1.3 million Zambians may depend on a mineral deal.
Inspires, Mark had a dream, Malcolm had a warning. Garvey saw the ships way before the storming. Booker taught structure, Huey taught forming. Nat Turner's spirit got the ancestors warming. And Christ flipped tables in the temple agreed with the money changers exploiting the weed. See, the gospel ain't passive when the innocent bleed. True become militant when justice needs speed.
Food on the neck of Africa, still heavy. Oil in the Bible and the gold too deadly. They call it policy, we call it warfare. Whole world eating while the motherland starved there. West Coast fire with the Marcus Garvey spirit. Now come in my blood, let the whole globe hear it. Ain't no freedom if the you're got a price. That Caesar's Rome dressed up looking nice.
From Tulsa ashes to the Congo trails, black wealth always got hunted by devils for sale. They fear united tribes more than missiles and jails. That's why they poison every well that prevails.
Divide the nations, weaponize relief, smile in public while they bargain with grief. Put the pastor on TV, make the people go sleep while corporations carve the land underneath. But Africa ain't poor,
Under siege,
richest earth ever touched by
human need.
every empire built of African seas. Now they panic when the continent breathes. See the prophecy clear in the smoke and dust. No savior coming through the eye, ain't enough trust. The same ships that carry chains and rust now carry trade deals labeled strategic plus. But the youth waking up in Lagos nights, Johannesburg drums and Nairobi lights. Black America tied to the struggle for life. Same knee on the neck, same corporate knife.
Here we go again, this punk Trump man. Here we go again with this punk Trump man.
And they gon' call this anger. They call Moses angry. They call Malcolm dangerous. They call Garvey radical. They call Christ a threat to empire. But truth got a way of shaking palaces. No more begging Pharaoh for permission to breathe. No more trading life for mineral leases. No more smiling through exploitation. From the throne of resistance, from the bloodline of survivors, from the memory of every ancestor buried beneath somebody else's wealth. King-KAMBUF, and I said so.